Okay, so it's time to do the front fork seals. So we've got the bike here down in my basement workshop, down here. It's a little tight, but it should be fine, I think. So here's the problem. Fork seal is leaking. You can see it on my finger. I tried cleaning it with the, you can see it there. It gets pretty bad when you push it down a few times. But this has been something that's been leaking since I bought the bike. When I first bought it, fluid would leak out of here, the oil, and go down to the caliper and messed up the brakes and everything. So I put new brake pads on. That's when I realized the problem. So I've just been keeping it clean, but now it's time to go ahead and address the issue. So what I did was, so far I've just got the bike down here in the basement, and then we put it up on the center stand. So I've been procrastinating this job until I get the center stand installed, which I did a few months back, and I have a video on that. So I put the center stand on the bike, and now I can use it for maintenance. What I did was I took a regular small floor jack, and I just put it against the frame part over here. I guess, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's just like a part of the front frame cover. And I have it just against that, and that's holding the bike nicely. So it's actually suspended on both rear wheel. The rear wheel is free, and the front wheel is actually free. I went ahead and pulled the axle bolt out. I forgot that I needed to start my videoing. So, for now, I've got the axle bolt out. As you can see, the wheel's forward. It can go back in, but I forgot to take the calipers off, so I'm going to go ahead and take those off and take that out now. Once I get them off, I should be able to take the wheel right off. I took the ABS sensor off, which was right here. Disconnected the holder for the cables, and that just goes on like that. Anyway, so I'm on my way. I'll go ahead and get all this removed, and once I get this removed, the next plan will be to carefully remove these. Apparently these are delicate and they break, so carefully remove those. This I was able to remove here, but this back fender part over here, the screws from the inside, I believe. So once I get the wheel out, I'll be able to get access to those two screws. So I'll be able to get, I think the back piece is separate from this one. There's one screw over here too. So anyway, I should be able to get this out fairly quickly, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the right side fork has been removed. I just loosened this bolt, and then loosened the two bolts on the clasp over here, and I just loosened them. What I did was I loosened these first, then I retightened this one just a little bit, and then I loosened this one, and then while kneeling down here, holding the shock just in case I didn't want it to fall, I loosened this one up, and then I was able to wiggle the whole thing out. There wasn't really any danger of falling, so when you're doing it, you can't just loosen these. I wouldn't remove them. There's no point in it. Maybe we need to remove them to put them back. I don't know yet. But I would just loosen them just enough, and then be ready to snug them in case you have to. But slowly you should be able to just wiggle the whole thing down. And it came out pretty easy. So it only took about 3-4 minutes. I was being extra cautious. Here's the actual fork on this side, and looks pretty good. As soon as I got it out, I was able to push down on it, and you can see immediately the oil residues there. So it is leaking. I tried to use the seal mate. That didn't really help, so I'm guessing this seal is shot. So as soon as I get the other one out, we'll start dismantling it, and then I do have the seals available. I bought these from Amazon. Remember, this is COVID era, so I don't know what the prices would be otherwise, but I was able to get this one, and it specifically says it's for F650CS, so it should be the right one. Comes with the dust caps and seal, and pretty much it. And then I bought 1 liter of fork oil. I just picked it up at my local Cycle Gear. So this was around $35, I want to say, and this was $14. So roughly, I'm around $50 into it at the moment. I don't know what else I'll need to buy. I'll keep the prices updated, but you'll have to take into account that this is June of 2022. So depending on when you watch this video and where you are in the world, that'll depend on how much it'll cost to do this. Okay, so this was the hard part. Got the shocks out, or the forks out, and to get the clip out, it's very difficult, especially with one person. So I had somebody help me, but I could have used the vise. I didn't. I don't really have a vise that works well, so I need to get one anyway. But that's okay. I saw where somebody used a clamp. They called it a G clamp. I got a fence clamp, and what I did was I took a piece of foam, put it around the fork itself so not to damage it. Used just a radiator clamp, a radiator hose type of clamp. I think they call it a Jubilee clamp. And I took the fence clamp and I just turned it sideways so the metal part is out on the side. And then I used a piece of foam to protect the fork. And then I have it fastened to here. And then I used the clamp itself to push down on the center pin cap, and then I was able to get the circlip out using like a pick tool on that one. So that's how I did it. Wasn't too bad, but this came in handy. There we go. So the O-ring was kind of sealing everything, holding it in place, and then it kind of just wants to fall down. So this is the one that was leaking, and you can see pretty dirty there. And it has a lot less oil than the other one did, looks like. So it's probably gonna get a little messy here, but so we're done for now. Okay, so I just took the spring out from the first fork. I took the plastic pipe out first, then I pulled the spring out. I have not taken the fluid out yet, and you can see the tapered end of the spring is at the bottom, so I wanted to document that. And the flat is at the top. So I'm just gonna put that over here real quick. Okay, so pulled out the fluid from the first fork, and it was actually the one that was leaking. So you can see that it is right at above, just a hair above 350 milliliters. And the documented amount that should go into to each fork is 470 or 480 milliliters. So that would bring us to right below 500. So that's how much is leaked out. Okay, here are the insides of the forks themselves so far. I've separated them. At the very top, once I took off the cap, there was the plastic insert and then the spring underneath it, positioned that way. That was the bottom. This is the top of the spring. This sits on top. That's the dust cover for the seal. Okay, so the brown colored fluid came out from the left side of the bike, which was not leaking, and the greenish color fluid came out from the right side of the bike, which was leaking. The brown fluid was a little dirtier in look than the green, but it almost seems like maybe the brown fluid seal was changed and was not leaking, and the green fluid, wonder if that was the original fluid which was leaking, but it was cleaner, so that's odd. Okay, tried several times to just pull the fork apart, take the seal out. But I didn't realize is that the bolt, the 8mm hex bolt at the bottom inside here, which is on the other one that's still assembled, it's that hex bolt there. That is a must. It has to come out. I thought we didn't need to take it out because I was draining all the fluid. I thought it was just for draining. Didn't realize the actual bottom spring is screwed into it. So that's what holds it all together. So now I know. Anyway, so we just got it out. Gonna clean it all up and then start reassembling. I need to go get the O-ring for the top. I have the seals, the dust cover, everything else. I just need the O-rings for the top cap. And I don't have the O-ring washer for this, so hopefully I won't need it. I don't think it's something I can just get readily. I think it's something I'm gonna have to get from BMW, so hopefully I don't need it. So this is how the seal is in there. You can see the markings and the writings on the seal are on the outer side of the seal. The part where it actually meets the inside where the oil is, the sealing part, is like that. It's smooth. There's no writing. There's no markings. On this side, it's got the writing and the markings, and basically, there's the inside, on the inside of the seal, there's two lips on the inner side and one lip on the outer side. So meaning the side that meets the oil has two lips on it. And the instructions on the new seal say to make sure you do that, that the two lips go on the inner side. So it's matching in the top. Okay, for cleaning the forks, I just use WD-40. I have the spray type, which I kind of like better. It's cheaper too. I just sprayed a good liberal amount of WD-40 inside all the races and everything, and then it's all the way down. And then I just use paper napkins, either this or the blue shop rag type, and I stuffed them down there. And I use the PVC pipe to kind of help push them down at the bottom and clean as much as possible. And then once I get them stuck down there, what I would do is use like an extension, socket extension, long one, and push it back out through there, so that way I can get the rag back out. I found that effective. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's many ways to do this, but and then same thing, just clean this really good. Oops, that's not good. So and same thing for this. I just cleaned it really good with solvent and cleaned it all out and ready to go. So just need to clean the main fork tube over here, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just give it a good wipe. I took a look. There were some nicks. I kind of gently polished them. I think they'll be all right, but they were there. That's a mark I made for alignment. But yeah, see, there's some nicks there. Nothing too major, and I got them as smooth as I could. I didn't want to overdo it. I just used a scuffing pad with WD-40 on it, and just gently, very gently, with my fingernails, just tried to use it to try to get the dirt out of the scuffs and smooth them out as much as possible. Hopefully that won't cause any leaks. That's pretty much it. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this, and lube it really good. I just use a little bit of the oil and get it all back together. Okay, just getting ready to put everything back together. So you've got the outer tube, the inner tube, the long one, and then you've got the bottom spring and the cap. And then you also have the bolt for it, which is right over there. So here's what I'm gonna take this part and put it down through the middle over here. And then once it's out from the bottom, I will add this cap to it and then push all that down through this side. And then that'll give me the ability to put the screw in from that hole at the bottom. Okay, I entered the bottom spring from the top, slowly, I held it sideways and then had it come down and have it extending out the bottom. And then I will put the cap on like that. And then I'll hold that, and then I'll slide it down the outer shaft. Okay, I've got it reassembled. No seals or races in yet. and you can see the center hole ready for the screw. So I'll go ahead and start the screw now. Okay, so here's how I'm doing it. Getting this started. Having these long extensions helps a lot. In fact, I'd say it's just a requirement. And then should be able to get it started. I'm going to do it lightly so the whole thing doesn't turn. And then I think I got it threaded. We'll see in a minute here. Yep, nice and tight. So it's now I've just got it hand tight. And what I'll do is, yep, so that works. So that's in. Now I can slowly get everything in. And then before I fill in the oil, I'll come back and I'll tighten this up. Basically just snug. What I like to do is put my palm over the ratchet and turn it with that, but no leverage on the end. And that way it should seal, but no leak. Hopefully. Did this one last night and sealed it the same exact way. After I put the oil in, I sealed everything at the top and let it sit overnight to see if anything leaks. And there was no leak, so I think I'll be good to go. Okay, this is the inner race that goes in here, I guess the bearing sleeve. This one seems pretty worn, so I'm not sure. The other one was not this worn, so I'm guessing that this has had some rubbing going on. Ironically, this was the side that was not leaking, so, but it looks like there was a good bit of wear there. It's pretty smooth, so I think it'll be all right. I'm going to coat it really good with oil and put it back in. And I'm guessing that maybe at some point, since this oil was brown on this side, the other was green, I'm guessing this was done at some point, and maybe it had all leaked out and worn out the bearing, and somebody just replaced, put a fresh oil and seal and everything in and back in. But I don't know. I'm just guessing. We'll see. But if I have problems, I guess I'll have to replace this or something at some point. Okay, so I made a seal driver using electrical tape, 24 runs around. Before I started doing this though, I had the bearing and the washer in here because I want to use this to drive the bearing in. Once I get the bearing in, I have to undo this and put the seal in and then redo this 24 times again, and then drive the seal in with this. So right now I'm just gonna, if you can see here, I'm just gonna drive this in. You'll see this go in. It went in. That was that easy. And you can see inside where the race went in, the bearing went into the race, and the washer's still there. Now I can pull the washer out like this, see, and hold it up here, and you can see where the bearing went in, nice, and it's nice and smooth. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to do this because this has to stick to this, so it just takes a few minutes. I'll just undo this, put the seal in, redo this, and drive the seal in. Just lubing up the new seal. Very important to make sure you get the seal in the proper direction. I'm pretty sure it's the same for most bikes, but there's writing on the outer lip of the seal. You can see it. So the writing apparently is always facing the top. The oil side, which is in the inside, has 2 rings. So you can see it also in here. The instruction packet, the bag that this came in had instructions on it to make sure you put it in that way. But there's 1 ring over here, 1 lip over here, and there's 2 lips down here. And that's the side that goes in on the oil side, the bottom part. So again, if your shock is upside down, then I guess it would be reversed. But, so you just want to pay attention to that. Important. Another trick is when you take your old one out, mark exactly which side was top, and that way you can compare. Some people cut a portion of the old one out so they can know, that way if it falls or something, they know which side was which. But this particular one, it's, you know, the writing is on the outside. There's the 2 lips on the inside, so it should be fairly easy to figure out. And then I lubed it up really good, and I'm just going to put a little oil on the shaft itself just so I don't chafe anything going in. This is about the most important part because you could damage it, and then once you damage it, you're in a lot of trouble. Alright, ready to go in. Slowly heat it on. Here we go. Oops, came out. Okay, it's in. And, oops, it's a little faster than I want it to go. And it's ready to hammer in, so it's kind of started here, fairly even. So, time for me to put my tape back on. You can stop now. Closer. Okay, so I got my electrical tape driver set up. Just gonna, this really shouldn't take too much effort. It should go in fairly easy. So I'm just gonna, and then if it's not completely even, I can turn it as I go. Okay. And I should be able to see the ring, the groove where the retaining ring goes, and you can see it in there. Okay, so I made this contraption using my vise, and then a radiator hose clamp, and a fence clamp. And what I do is, you could do this outside and then put it in, but the concept is to get it in like this, into the clamp, and it's already formed because I've already done it. So the idea is get it in here, and I'm using a foam, just a packing foam that I had as to protect it. And then I want to get it under here, so now hopefully this won't rise up as I push down. And then let me get this up here as high as I can, get my cap ready to go in like so, and push that in, get it in ready. Okay. The wheel is back on. Everything's back. There's no issues with any of the bolts. Cleaned everything good. And we're about to take it down. Go ahead. Let's try that.
Dude, stiff one. It's stiff. Yeah, it's like firm.
It's more firm than before?
It doesn't even like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was bottoming out before, so. Okay.
Is that tiring? Oh, why's blue coming up?
It's not fluid.
It's residual.
No oil.
The answer is always residual here. It's stiff.
Very dry.
Much.
Yeah, it's just the dust.
Now the rear was
It's
like
always
squishy.
going to do that.
The rear is adjustable. Is it a shop? Oh, lovely. Because the front's like super stiff now. There's definitely liquid on this one. That's because you put